100 years. With competitive ag loan rates, including equipment loans, farmland loans, and lines of credit, First Southern Bank has all the banking tools you need to help keep your growing business growing. First Southern Bank. Investing in you since 1907. For loan rates and more, visit firstsoutherngA.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jessup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
Country Financial is ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction for home insurance according to J.D. Power. Why am I sharing such big news instead of some mascot or movie star? Because at Country Financial, we don't invest in all that. We invest in our clients. Call me, Stephanie, at 912-588-1051 at Shauna Quinn's office to learn more about Country Financial's J.D. Power award-winning home insurance.
For J.D. Power 2020 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings restaurant in Jessup is now open for business, practicing social distancing, but still serving that great food that Damon's is famous for. Come inside or come through the drive-thru, but Damon's is open inside and welcomes back its customers. The menu's the same, the service is fast, and the food is fantastic, and the sauces remain the same, mild, wild, insane, or inferno. The number is the same, 588-WING, 588-9464. Damon's Restaurant on West Cherry Street in Jessup. Dining room now open for business. Come on in and enjoy a great meal today.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jessup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
Yes, it is now time for the world famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO-FM in Jessup. 1 minute after 8 o'clock here on this Monday morning, 5th day of April. And good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm here.
You're here? Like that shirt, is it new?
No.
No? You've had that a while? Just look, yeah, looks good. Nice Nike pullover shirt there.
I've got several.
Several of them like that?
Different colors. So it's comfortable.
It does look comfortable. And especially if we get into this warmer weather here, that type of material right there is real cool compared to the old thick cotton kind. But we appreciate everyone tuning in this morning here on the world famous Butch and Bob Show. And, of course, the big news over the weekend was the All-Star Game being canceled there in Atlanta by MLB, by Major League Baseball, and moves to somewhere else, wherever it's going to be. Just getting all kinds of reaction from the governor and from the Secretary of the Attorney General and everyone else here in the state.
The question is why.
They didn't say why.
They haven't said why.
They didn't say why. Did they read the bill? That's what I want to know.
That's my question is, what made Major League Baseball make this move? I mean, somebody needs to explain to me.
Perception of reality. Sometimes, I was reading some articles about it over the weekend, and it's the perception of reality. You can have, you can have what's the truth, you can have what's the facts, but it's the perception of reality, which is what people go by. And that's what the MLB apparently is going by, is the perception of the facts, the truth, reality. And when I was reading these articles, that's what it was saying.
I told you, I don't watch the national news anymore. So I'm watching my soap opera on Friday. And of course, they break in because of that guy that crashed tried to get in the state capitol, or Capitol police officer gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
So
into the Capitol, right? In Washington Capitol.
Well, he tried to bash it.
He tried to capture the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C.
Had a knife, got shot and killed anyway. That's the only news I knew about. So I'm driving in a friend of mine calls me and says, well, have you heard the news? I said, well, yeah, I saw the crazy news about the guy trying to crash into the Capitol and got shot and killed. He said, no, the Major League Baseball game, All-Star game. I said, what are you talking about? He said, they're moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta. I said, no, they're not. I said, I thought it was an late April Fool's joke. They said, no, they're moving it out because of that. I said, get out of here. So sure enough, when I got to Nahunta, I checked my phone, ESPN, and they said on there, but I kept looking for why. Just couldn't get a why from, what made Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball decide to move it out of Atlanta, knowing they were going to Atlanta. because the big story, the reason it was going to Atlanta, they were going to do the big celebration for the Hank Aaron. They're going to have Hank Aaron's family there and honor the career of Hank Aaron. So it'd be hard to move it to Boston or somewhere to have,
Milwaukee's what you're thinking about right now is moving it to Milwaukee.
I haven't heard Milwaukee. I heard some other place.
If you're going to honor a Hank Aaron, where else would you do it other than Milwaukee?
I don't know, but I heard that supposed they're moving it to Canada is what I heard. So Toronto's what the city I heard they're moving it to.
It could be. I really don't know.
I don't understand why they'd move it anyway, but like I said, it just makes no sense. It's just. Yeah,
it's interesting the facts that the Governor Kent gave in the actuality that you put on local news, comparing our election laws
to New York.
New York, only 10 days beforehand. You've had to have a valid driver's license or some ID for years. Right. You have to vote in person or either early voting. You cannot do just random absentee balloting and stuff like that. So compared to what Georgia's, even the current law, they're a lot restricted than we are, and that's where MLB has their headquarters. So they're headquartered where, apparently, from what Governor Kemp said,
there's
more restrictions than are here in the state of Georgia.
That's what
it's perception of reality.
Why not move it out? Why not move the MLB headquarters out of New York?
Yes. Well, you got folks out there. And of course, these are just things, not my opinions, but things that I have heard and saw and read over the weekend. If you got a group out there that are getting millions of dollars from organizations nationwide, and they're everywhere. They're on television, they're on radio, they're on internet, podcast, everything else. If you yell something loud enough, hard enough, with enough conviction, long enough, people will believe it, and that's a lot of the stuff that I read and heard over the weekend, that you got a group out there that's saying this. And so the way that companies are today, they don't want no controversy at all. So anytime there's any type of controversy, they just step back and get away from it.
I just kept thinking, what's next? They're going to boycott the Augusta National.
They talked about it over the weekend, but there was no other Augusta National.
There's no other.
That's what they were saying.
Where are they going to go?
I was reading something over the weekend about that. They talked about. No, you can't do. There's no other. It's not a PGA. It's the Augusta National. It's the Masters event at the Augusta National. They're the ones that put it on.
They control it all.
They can't move it. They
don't want to move it.
Remember back in 2002 when you had that woman there in raising all kinds of cane about no women in the Augusta National Golf Course, and they ran that entire 4 days of Masters with no commercials. The Augusta National was not going to be intimidated.
It's just crazy. Yeah. Then Delta and Coca-Cola jump in. Let me ask you a question. Can you get on a plane without an ID?
No.
Okay. So why don't you have to have an ID to vote?
Yeah. You go through all kinds of background check when you fly.
We've had Bill, we had Blake, and I kept asking that because I kept reading that narrative that 3% of Georgians don't have an ID. They can't vote. So I asked them all, well, what do they do if they don't have an ID? Well, you just pick up the phone and call the number. They'll send you an ID. Well, you have to have an ID for everything.
Everything else. They're not really cut.
I told my friends I'm going to buy me a plane ticket to Delta. I'm going to go and I'm going to demand that I get on the plane without an ID and film it and put it on national news and make a point. You can't get on a plane without it. Why are you going to?
You got to have it in New York. In New York State, you got to have it.
I just don't understand what the problem is.
And the thing about it is there was enough pressure.
You have to have an ID to do everything. Why don't you have to have an ID to vote? Nobody can tell me why. They just throw that out there.
I told you.
It's just going to hurt.
Just
people.
Read some of the
things. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Just read some of the things that I've read. What I'm talking about, just things that I've read.
They haven't read the bill. I mean, if you
read the bill.
And Bill said that, Bill Workhauser made a good point on there. He said nobody can argue
the merits of the bill.
Right. He said,
but it's the perception of reality, Bob. And the thing about it is that group has put so much pressure on the Republicans during this legislative session that what the Republicans started off with and what they ended up with is a lot more favorable to the other side's point of view. So you continue to put that pressure, you get more of what you want than just sitting back and say, oh, yeah, it looks great. And these, like I said, I've read a lot of stuff and listened to a lot of stuff over the weekend. This is the things that I've read and I've seen and listened to over the weekend. The reason why this happened.
They've added days. Like I said, they've
added days.
I mean, come on.
It's a lot more easier to vote in the state of Georgia than it is in the state of New York.
It's just perplexing to me,
and especially in New York City.
National news, I just can't do it. But
no.
I just don't understand how MLB can just make that move.
They've got to have reasons. They got to say something specific.
At least release a
Here
statement.
in the bill is what we object to.
Exactly. Release a statement saying this is why we're moving the game, not just move it for no reason. Here's what I want everybody to do. The fans get to vote for the All-Stars players, right?
Right.
So I want everybody, when it starts, I want us to vote every Atlanta Brave as many times as you possibly can. And then when the All-Stars come out and they got 7 Atlanta Braves in the starting lineup, I want those 7 Atlanta Braves to boycott the All-Star game, and they're not going because it's not in Atlanta. So Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna Jr., all these players that are All-Star players for the Braves, I want them to vote it in, and then I want those players to boycott the All-Star game, say they're not going to the game because it's not in Atlanta. Can I do that? Can I get Freddie Freeman to do that?
I don't know. I know the Braves are totally against it. The Braves players, the Braves organization are totally against this decision. You know, it affects. And the thing about it is, it doesn't hurt the entire state of Georgia. It really hurts
Atlanta.
It hurts Atlanta.
$100 million. Guess who else it hurts? It hurts all those vendors, all those minorities
workers
that have jobs in those restaurants.
That's
Guess
right.
What? So Stacey Abrams, you just hurt all those people that you're supposed to be helping by this stupid law that you think is not good. I don't understand. Like I said, what they did is they unified the GOP party, and they just put Brian Kemp as the leading candidate to be reelected governor because he was on the ice from a lot of people. A lot of people were still upset about all that stuff.
Right.
They just all said, yay, we love the governor now. He's out there just bashing Delta, bashing Coca-Cola, bashing Biden, bashing Stacey Abrams. Go Brian Kemp, reelect you. I'm ready.
Yeah. He needs to get into a debate with the CEOs of these corporations and MLB and debate this issue somewhere on TV. Just get on one of these Sunday programs and go, let's debate it. All right, CEO Coca-Cola, CEO of Delta, CEO of MLB, let's get on the air and let's get on one of these Sunday talk shows and let's debate the merits of this bill, and you can tell me what you don't like about it, and let's compare that to states like New York and other states like that who have a lot more restrictive laws than we do here in the state of Georgia when it comes to voting.
Well, what they did is,
but they won't do it.
Or they said it just exposed New York to Georgia. I said the New York Times, the Washington Post, all these major networks, they dissected the Georgia law and compared the New York law and showed how Georgia law is so much better than New York.
A lot easier to vote in this state than it is in New York, especially New York City.
I mean, it's not even close. So why aren't they yelling and screaming about New York's laws?
Because it's not. It's not a political football. It's not a political football.
It's just sad.
Yeah,
it's just a sad story. But I said, all it's going to do is hurt Major League Baseball. You're going to see people just boycott Major League Baseball like they boycotted NBA. Ratings will go down. Eventually, salaries will go down. That's when it's going to start hurting. This only affects
one state, and so I don't know if it'll affect all the fans for MLB nationwide. And so, you know, of course, with the national media being about 95% left wing, according to what things that I've read and seen, that's the message they're getting nationwide is what's in the bill. And they're not, you know, if you don't have the MLB and the CEOs of these major corporations reading that bill, you're not going to have the average Joe Blow. They're just going to go by what they hear on the media or see on the media or read on the internet.
The sad thing,
and that's about 95% on the left wing side, according to things that I've read.
And then the Braves had to take the patch off their right shoulder. They had a patch that said that was going to, so they had to take that off the uniform. So
every time the state of Georgia does something that the left does not agree with, you know, we're going to pull movies from your state. We're not going to film any movies there anymore. We're not going to film any TV shows anymore. We're not bringing sport events there. Anytime that something happens, you know, you got these folks saying, all right, we're just going to pull everything from your state.
No, it's anytime they lose. That's what bothers me. It's sometimes you don't win. But every time they lose, it's got to be a boycott. It's got to be a protest. It's got to be, sometimes you don't win. You know, you play a game, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Sometimes it's rained out.
That's right, exactly. So why? But that's their attitude. Every time they lose, every time they don't get their way, they got to protest, they got to boycott, they got to do. I mean, I just don't get it. It's un-American. That's what's un-American. It's just crazy. I just don't. Like I said, I just still want to see Rob Manfred step up to a microphone and make a statement to explain why he did what he did. He hasn't done it yet.
Well, we had somebody just text in. This is kind of tongue in cheek right here, so I want people to take this because when you read text messages, you don't get that voice inflection and the face movements and the what they're saying. But this is definitely tongue in cheek right here because I know the person who sent this in. He said, "You think?" Of course, this is from New York now. The people who made this decision from New York. Okay, you think they still might be fighting the war of northern aggression? Got to keep our thumb on those Southerners down there now.
The sad thing is just $100 million economic impact of that area. So all those restaurant owners and all that, all that money.
It's the people around that 4-county area around the stadium there that's going to hurt the most. We're not going to feel it down here in South Georgia. And guess where the majority of the people live that support the other side of this bill in that area? They're the ones that are going to be affected most about this than anybody else, is the minorities in that area. And it hurts them. And that's the reason why you got the Braves and the Braves organization say, hey, whoa, you're hurting our folks around here, MLB. You're hurting our folks.
I'd just like to see a Braves player step up and say, if they get voted to the All-Star game, I'm not going because it's not in Atlanta. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see Freddie Freeman or Ronald Acuña Jr. or somebody say that. For the Atlanta Braves' sake, say, look, if you move it out of Atlanta, if I get voted in, I won't be there.
Yeah. Somebody texts in and says, if you've got a legal ID, what's the problem? Okay. If you have a legal ID, what's the problem? Focus on unity. So if you have a legal ID, there's no problem there. I mean, I don't understand that. But I don't know. Yeah, you got these folks out there that it's conflict creates interest, and interest creates people giving money. So as long as there's conflict and there's all this kind of stuff, people are going to be sending in money on the perception of reality. These things I read about all the time.
I just don't understand why you don't think you have to have an ID to vote. You have to have an ID to do everything else. So why not have an ID to vote? I don't get it.
Well, I don't know, Bob. I don't know.
They can't explain it to me. So I don't understand. Like I said, I just know one thing. You won't get on a Delta airline without an ID.
No, you won't.
Because if you try to get on a plane without an ID, they're going to arrest you.
And voting is a lot more important than getting on a doggone airline. It's the most important thing that we do is a secure vote to make sure it's secure.
Just sad.
Someone texted in, this is what somebody texted in, our state needs to pull all state funding and tax rebates from those that boycott Georgia. Others, all these movie companies, tax incentives to bring them here. I think they have to change the culture. I think they've changed the culture of our state. Well, we got so many people from the Northwest and the Midwest and the West moving into the state of Georgia because they want to move where the taxes are a lot less. So, but the thing about it is they come here and they still vote.
Somebody a lot smarter than me had a good point. They said the General Assembly should reconvene this week and take away that $30 million fuel tax that they gave Delta. So take that away from them.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what folks are saying. I've read that too.
I mean, two can play this game. So just boycott Coca-Cola products. Don't drink any Coca-Cola, just.
Well, because they know that the folks on the that are upset about all this, and on the let's just say the conservatives about this are not going to do all this kind of stuff. They're just going to take it and go forward.
But that's the only thing
they're going to just take it and say, all right, well, we're just going to move forward. We're not going to boycott or get upset.
Of course, you got if you're upset like I am. Like I say, you just don't purchase a plane from Delta. You don't drink Coca-Cola. You just don't. You do what you can do. But that's all you can do. But it's just sad to see the All-Star game moved out of Atlanta because of what? Because who? I mean, somebody had to direct somebody. Either Joe Biden called Rob Manfred or somebody.
Somebody said President Biden just said that he would be. He's not telling them to do it, but he would be supportive and in favor of them doing it.
Why do you do it then? I mean, you're going to tell me that Rob Manfred just did this out of the blue because
it's
he wanted
the perception of reality. I told you, companies they don't want conflict. So anytime there's a thing where they're going to be, you're going to have a big group out there that gets millions upon millions of dollars every single year to support their causes every single year, or they're just going to sit back because they don't want They don't want to be boycotted. They don't want folks to they don't want to be part of all that. So it's easier for them as a corporation to say, all right, we're just going to sit back and pull out of this because we know the other side's not going to raise much cane about it, but this side's raising canes about it. So we're going to, it's the greasy wheel gets the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
It took me forever to get rid of that idiot Bud Selig, so now I just got to start a campaign to get rid of Rob Manfred. Just get rid of him. He's got to go.
Oh.
It's a stupid decision. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Now, if they got the bill out there, if you had the guy, the MLB, sit out there and say, all right, this is what we, in this particular bill that we're against, and let's compare this to what the New York laws are and what the other laws are in the states of United States. This is what we're against. Show me an area there. That's what he should have done. Same thing with the CEO of Coke and the CEO of Delta. Pull the bill out and say, this is what we're against.
At least Stacey Abrams was smart enough to not be for moving the game. She did say that was not the thing to do. So
no, it hurts. It hurts the Atlanta area.
Right. She knows it's going to hurt her constituents.
It's going to hurt her constituents big time.
So what she's done is she's took money out of their pocket. So it's not a good move at all for the city of Atlanta. So at least she did come out and say they shouldn't have moved the game out of it. So why do they do it? I still ask that question. Why? Tell me
perception
why.
of reality.
Tell me why, Mr. Manfred.
Because
give me a statement, Mr. Manfred.
They didn't want to go against the grain there. It's easier to back up.
Maybe they'll reverse the decision. Can we get them to reverse the decision?
I don't know if they can,
because they haven't named a new city yet.
The thing about it is if the governor and if Governor Kemp and if you've got other representatives from government in the state of Georgia, get on there and continue to get on the national media and hit it hard like Kemp did and Carr did over the weekend, perhaps maybe they would, because America would see then there's nothing in that law that restricts anything.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, it's a lot easier to vote in the state of Georgia than it is in the state of New York.
I just can't, we followed it from day one. We had our representatives on here, saw the debate, went back and forth. They did everything they could to try to tighten and make it. That was the narrative from the GOP. The narrative was to bring integrity back to the election system. Right.
Because when the Republicans lost, they said it was fixed. When the Democrats lost, they said it was fixed. So let's fix the problem where no one can say, when we lose, it's fixed. Let's make it as secure as possible. And that's what they did. And still opened it up more so more people can vote on more days.
And what a great idea. You have to have an ID to vote. It's a great idea.
The thing about it is if you vote in person, you got to have an ID.
If you got to get on a plane, you got an ID. You want to buy a cigarette, you got an ID.
If you get a fishing license, you got to have an ID.
You got an ID for everything.
To get married, you got to have a license.
Why wouldn't you have an ID to vote? I don't understand it. Oh, they don't have an ID. We'll give you one free of charge. It doesn't even cost you anything. Just come get it.
Just come get it. We got it for you right here. Just come get it.
Explain to me why you don't have
an ID.
Only
3% of the state of Georgia don't have an ID. Only 3%.
And we asked that question because that was the narrative too. They kept reading, 3% of Georgia. I said, Bill, Blake, what happens if these poor people don't have an ID? Oh, they just got to call this number or go to the dine and get one. They'll give you one. Free of charge.
Free of charge.
It's no problem, but you have to have an ID to vote.
It makes you wonder why that group is so against this. I mean, did they do things that cast ballots that were not legitimate? Yeah, that's the question. Is if you're yelling much about this, are those votes legitimate?
It makes no sense, but it is what it is.
I don't know.
Hopefully, they're going to reverse the decision. That's what I'm hoping.
Well,
I got my fingers crossed.
Well, they could do that. I think
common sense comes. Rob Manfred realizes we don't even have a reason why we're moving the game.
There's not.
So we need to just reverse and say it's going to be played in Atlanta.
Well, Stacey Abrams can help a lot on that. She could just give them a call up and say, listen, this is wrong. This is hurting my constituents up here because this is right in the middle where my base is in these 4 or 5 county areas up here. This is where my base is.
Is she going to make that call?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. It's according to how many of her constituents call her up and say, listen, Stacey, they're hurting us. You know how much money I was going to make off this All-Star game? Either at the stadium or people stopping by my business or vendors and stuff like that.
Well, see, the Pirates aren't any good, so it's no problem. I can boycott baseball. It's not going to hurt me not to watch MLB at all. So I don't have the MLB package, so I'm good to go.
I don't know. We'll see what
I
happens
watch college
with all this.
baseball and high school baseball.
I just think that people react too quickly on things these days. But
I really thought somebody was pulling my leg. I couldn't believe it when they called me.
And they're going to be honoring Hank Aaron. They were going to be They had everything set up to honor Hank Aaron.
And then I think, was it President Obama made the foolish statement that this was something that Aaron would want? I don't know. I don't think
no.
Who made that statement?
Yeah, I don't know who did, but no, he wouldn't, because if it's.
I saw where he weighed in. He was applauding the decision, though. And I don't want to.
I really think that former presidents should do their best to stay out of politics. I really do, but some of them do, and some of them don't.
What's George Bush say? He owned a baseball team. Let's see what
I hadn't heard what George Bush has said, but I sure hope they read the bill before they make comments. And then pick out specifically in there what they're against and how they think that suppresses voting, especially compared to other states.
I just know that if I ever go on a plane with Delta, I'm going to tell them I don't need an ID, because they said that they don't believe in IDs. So I should get on the plane without an ID.
Well, Georgians who are upset about this they can vote with their pocketbook by not flying Delta, not buying Coca-Cola products.
Exactly. So, like I said, that's all you can do. You just have to hurt them like they're hurting.
The thing about the Braves players, and the Braves organization, says, "Hey, we're totally against this. So you can't really boycott the Braves any type of way because they're totally against this decision. But you can by not watching other or listening to other baseball games that, like, are, let's say, between the Cardinals and the Pirates or the Yankees and the Red Sox and stuff like that. You can just say, no, I'm not going to do that, and just keep up with the Braves.
I just want every Braves player that gets voted in as an all-star to say, I'm boycotting where it's at. I'm not going. I want Freddie Freeman to say, I'm not going. I want them all. The Braves manager is probably going to coach staff not go. Just boycott wherever it is.
Yeah.
Just say the heck with it. I don't know if they'll make that decision, but that's what they should do.
I agree. As you mentioned, the fact it's not something that you and I are commenting off the cuff with. We've kept up with that bill all session long.
I asked all those questions.
Through state representatives and the state senator.
If you go back, I think the last Wednesday with Werkheiser, if you go back and listen to that, he laid it out pretty specifically.
He did.
I mean, and I thought what he said on our show was about as well explained that anybody else I heard from. So I give him
31st of March.
I give him kudos for explaining what the bill is, what it was intended for, and how it enhanced the voting, not suppressed it. So that's what bothers me.
Just trying to make it legitimate so both sides can say, hey,
I watch these major news companies and they come on there and they give that narrative where it's suppressing the vote, and that's just not, like the governor said Saturday, they're not going by the facts. I mean, they're just totally
read the bill.
Right. They
read the bill.
Read it. So, oh well, I just hate it, but it is what it is. But maybe they can reverse course. Like I said, the All-Star Game's not till July, so they got plenty of time to. And they haven't set where it's going. That was funny too. We're going to move it. Where are you going to move to? Well, we don't know.
There's a lot of logistics you have to set up. You got, the stadium. You got hotel rooms.
I know, but there's a lot of cities.
That's what I mean is the fact they've got a lot to set up there to try to work out, because they gave it to the Braves 2 years ago, and the Braves organization, the city of Atlanta, has been working 2 years to prepare for this, and now you're going to give some city 3 months.
Well, there's a lot of people that just roll out. I mean, that's like I said. A lot of cities want it. I mean,
a lot of cities want it.
$100 million impact to their city. Yeah, they're rolling out the red carpet. Yeah, come our
way.
Bring
it here.
They're not going to have a lack of suitors, I can promise you. But it's going to be hard to honor Hank Aaron's career in, say, New York or California or wherever.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, it's just sad that it's not going to be where Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record
broke
and all
the record
that stuff
right there in Atlanta.
His career, but,
and was part of the Braves organization for years.
Yeah, right.
He's part of the Braves organization for years.
I'm sure his family's not happy with it being moved out of Atlanta.
No, it's not. It's just not right. It's not right. But like I said, these big corporations today, anytime some group out there starts yelling and screaming and yelling about stuff, and as I mentioned, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, they're going to back up because they don't want to put their shareholders in the middle of a controversy, so they just back up and get out of it. We see it time after time after time again.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope they reverse the decision. That's what I'm hoping for. I'll give them the end of the week. If they don't reverse by the end of the week, I'll give up. But By the end of the week, I think Rob Manfred will finally realize he made a stupid mistake and reverse decision.
Someone just texted in, Bob. You can't fix stupid.
Right, exactly. You can't fix stupid. I say it all the time.
That was a text, folks. Right. Practically everything that we've said here has either been text or something we read, seen, or heard.
That's a true statement. You can't fix stupid. And it's just a stupid decision.
But we see this happening to the country, the cancel culture all over America today. It's just happening everywhere. If it continues on, we won't even know our past anymore. You got one particular group out there want everybody to think their way, and if you don't do it their way, they're going to raise Cain. I mean, you got to think like us. You got to speak like us. And you've got to have, that's the reason why we have free speech in this country. You may not agree with somebody, but you should agree to the fact that both parties have the right to say what they want to say and express their opinions without trying to censor the other side.
And the biggest insult is when they start talking about they're going back to the Jim Crow laws. I mean, I can't even believe
it's the perception, Bob. You just say it loud enough, long enough conviction, people will believe it.
Any person with a third-grade education that makes that statement, I mean, come on. What are we doing? It's just absurd, but it is what it is. But I'm still I'm keeping hope alive that they're going to reverse the decision.
When does Wayne County varsity baseball play again?
Tomorrow in Veterans. Long trip tomorrow.
Veterans, yeah. And we've got the basketball game tonight. Is that correct?
The NCAA championship game tonight.
Gonzaga and Baylor. We'll have it for you right here on 105.5 FM.
I thought Gonzaga was gone Saturday night. So that was a heck of a ball game.
That was a heck of a ball game. Heck of a shot there at the end of the game.
Played well, so thought the Bruins were going to pull it off. I thought going into the game, I thought it was going to be a blowout.
Well, everybody did.
But the longer the game
UCLA thought it did.
The longer the game went on, I said, UCLA is going to pull this upset. And now that Gonzaga's in the finals, I got to pull for them. I'd hate to see them lose the championship game going undefeated all season long. Yeah. That'd be heartbreaking. Well,
Baylor's
Baylor's pretty darn good.
Well, they are good. They're ranked number 2. They're number 2. They got a strong program there.
It's going to be a good ball game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great ball game. And Gonzaga's going to have to get their act together because they can't play like they did against UCLA. They can't just think, we're going to win.
I'm pulling for the Zaga. Honestly.
Pulling for Zaga, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they're one game away from an undefeated season. I'd hate to see.
Yeah, I want to see history too. I have no thoughts or feelings toward
nothing
Gonzaga.
against Baylor, but I just, it'd be a sad story.
We want to see history.
Yeah, it'd be sad.
Get down that last game.
Yeah, I mean, they made it this far.
Well, do you think about the New York Patriots years ago when they were down to the very end of the game right there, and it looked like they were going to lose to Seattle,
I'm glad they got it.
And then they got beat for that, and then all the guys down in Miami.
The Giants beat them.
So. The Giants, not Seattle, but the Giants beat them that year where they didn't have that undefeated season, and then the Miami players all lit up their cigars saying, we're still the only team that's gone undefeated the entire season from 72.
That was a good thing, though. When the Patriots
that was a good thing, huh?
Yeah, that was a good thing.
It's not going to be a good thing if it gets Gonzaga.
I forgot. You can't compare them to the Patriots.
Okay, Bob. Anything else?
No, that's going to do it.
All right. Have a good day. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on Big Dog Country Radio, brought to you by First Southern Bank, by Murphy Builder Supply, by O'Quinn & Associates, Country Financial, Sean O'Quinn, and by Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings. Let's check in the latest news from Fox News Radio.
Is another wave coming or already here? I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. With around 3 million Americans daily getting coronavirus vaccines, there's debate among disease experts about where we stand with it.
Government officials are hesitant to say whether a new wave of COVID is here, hoping that vaccines can counteract it. Dr. Michael Osterholm directs the Center for Infectious Disease Research at the University of Minnesota. He said on Fox News Sunday he believes a fourth